Trump-Xi meeting back on track, trade war de-escalating, Bessent. U.S. President Donald Trump signaled he will meet with Chinese Communist Party leader Xi Jinping at the upcoming APEC summit in South Korea after Chinese authorities seemed to walk back last week's decision to tighten critical minerals export controls, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said on October 13. "That's the signal the president has given," Bessent said on Fox Business program Mornings with Maria, referencing Trump's earlier statement on Truth Social that there was no reason to meet with Xi after Beijing announced the export control. The APEC summit is scheduled to run from October 31 to November 1 in South Korea. Bessent said the lines of communication have since reopened and that the United States would firmly reject the new restrictions. On October 9, Chinese authorities expanded export controls to cover a wide range of products made anywhere in the world that contain 12 critical minerals, requiring would-be buyers to submit applications detailing the minerals' use and denying them to chipmakers. Trump responded the next day with threats of 100% tariffs and export restrictions on critical software starting on November 1, calling Beijing's move hostile. The Chinese regime seemed to capitulate in response. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer on October 12 said Beijing had deferred when the U.S. government called about the new restrictions. Chinese spokesperson stated on October 13 that the restrictions were not outright bans and that they sought dialogue. Bessent said on October 13 that the CCP might have done it to distract from its dire economic situation or its purchase of Iranian and Russian oil, but that the move was a miscalculation. "I can tell you, trying to get leverage in front of a meeting with Donald Trump is a bad idea," Bessent said, adding that Trump had turned the tables with 2 social media posts. He also echoed the president in saying the United States has many more cards it has not played, such as restrictions on software, financial services, sanctions, and others. "It was a miscalculation, but we are communicating now. I am confident that we can move forward," the Treasury Secretary said. He added that Trump believes there may be dissent among the ranks of the CCP. "The president thinks that this may have been from a lower-level official," he said. "The Chinese system is quite brittle, so this may not have come from Xi Jinping himself. This may have come from a Chinese hardliner. They have hardliners on their side, too, who are always trying to undermine the relationship." Bessent said trade tensions had de-escalated and that U.S.-China talks are already scheduled for this week. "The 100% tariff does not have to happen," he said. "There will be working-level talks this week, and I imagine that I will have some contact with my counterpart, and then the 2 leaders will meet." Despite this announcement, last week good lines of communication have reopened. "We are going to stand firm and reject these licensing requirements, because this is for the whole world. A group of bureaucrats in China cannot tell us and our allies how to run our supply system." Bessent also echoed Trump's rebuke of Beijing for announcing the export restrictions at the same time a historic peace deal in the Middle East was underway. "The Chinese are very big on symbolism, and I can tell you, it was highly inappropriate for them to announce these export controls on the day that peace deal was announced and overshadow that," he said. De-risking the critical minerals supply chain. China has a chokehold on the global critical minerals supply chain because it extracts a majority of the world's supply and processes about 90% of it. Still, experts have told the Epoch Times that Beijing's attempt to exert more leverage on this issue will only accelerate global efforts to diversify away from China. Bessent said on October 13 that the Pentagon's investment in MP Minerals-owned Mountain Pass rare earth mine, the United States' only rare earths processing facility, marked the beginning of a fast-track effort to bring the supply chain back to the United States. Bessent said that China has proven itself to be an unreliable supplier not just of critical minerals but also of other supplies, as seen during the COVID-19 pandemic. He added that the Chinese regime has never been a market player in this sector. "What's happened over the past 2 decades is any time a refining or processing facility has been set up, either in the U.S. or in a free market country, the Chinese come in and undercut the price," he said. Mike Sun, a U.S.-based businessman with decades of experience advising foreign investors and traders doing business in China, told the Epoch Times that Beijing currently exerts both direct and indirect control over rare earth pricing through production quotas, export licenses, and increased environmental regulations. He noted that most international rare earths transactions also use Chinese currency. Sun said the U.S. tariffs and export controls were short-term measures to counter Beijing, while long-term measures such as those the Trump administration has previewed to support a domestic supply chain were critical. Bessent said U.S. government investments during this fast-track period will help shield the domestic industry from the CCP's influence. We are going to guarantee prices for the processing, for the refining, because you can't market when there is a non-free market state actor destroying capacity, he said. Terry Wu contributed to this report.